With an increase in the amount of time spent on technology for educational and entertainment purposes, there is concern about whether the negative effects outweigh the positive. In this study, we will examine the positive and negative effects of technology on the mental, physical, and emotional development of children and adolescents. We will evaluate the effects of different types of screen time and determine if the positive effects outweigh the negative. First, we will discuss the effects of technology on physical development. A study done in 2018 showed that in young children under age 4, there was a significant decrease in motor skill development when screen time was allowed. According to recommendations, children under 2 years of age should not participate in screen time, and children under 4 years of age should have less than 2 hours of screen time per day. Anything more than this is considered excessive. Children with more than the recommended amount of screen time showed a lower level of motor skill development than those who adhered to the recommended amount of screen time. It was determined that the most likely cause for this was the lack of physical activity caused by time being spent using technology instead of moving, running, and playing. Next, we will discuss the effects of technology on emotional development. In another study, it was found that those adolescents who preferred technology for communicating with peers and used it often had a greater occurrence of social anxiety, feelings of peer aggression, and relationship anxiety. In this same study, it showed that adolescents who used technology to communicate regularly showed less avoidance of personal relationships because of the nature of their communication. On average, they had a larger number of friends, but those relationships caused more anxiety and identity stress than the relationships of those adolescents who did not use technology to communicate regularly. Although many studies show that technology can have a negative effect on children and adolescents, according to a study done by Gonzalez, Guzman, and Infant in 2019, screen time, when used properly, can help to improve literacy and aid in educating students in more effective ways. Those who use screen time for educational purposes or higher quality shows seem to have fewer negative effects than those who use screen time for social media and communication. Newman and Newman showed that there are many positive uses for technology, such as reading assessments and educational programming. Gonzalez, Guzman, and Infant showed that when children use tangible technologies, such as manipulative robots, code developing software, or programs that require hand-eye coordination, there was actually an increase in motor skill development. Technology has the potential to increase creativity and help skill development. Does the good outweigh the bad, or vice versa? This study is a non-experimental correlational study designed to determine the relationship between technology or screen time and the emotional and mental development of children and adolescents. The study will be done using an entire school district population of approximately 4,151 students, kindergarten through 12th grade, and will be narrowed down by using statistical data that is collected through surveys. Data collected will include hours of screen time, access to smartphones and/or tablets, number of friends, number of behavioral problems, average grades in school, incidence of feelings of anxiety and/or depression, and other statistical information. The sample study will be conducted using kindergarten through grade 12 students in Minidoka County School District during the 2020 and 2021 school year. The original sample population will be 4,151 students. The sample will be narrowed using statistical data from surveys. Data will be collected using surveys sent home with students for parents to fill out. There will be a district-wide call to all parents on file to watch for the survey and please participate. This will be followed with a remind message sent out to all parents 1 week after the surveys are sent home. The surveys will include a total of 50 questions. Split half testing will be utilized in order to ensure validity. The Likert scale will be used to make evaluating this information easier. Each variable, such as screen time, anxiety, depression, time spent on free play, etc., will be assigned a value. If there is a high correlation between screen time and the dependent variables, this will indicate a direct relationship. For data analysis, the Pearson product moment correlation will be used to answer questions such as, is there a correlation between the number of hours spent on screen time and grades in school? Is there a correlation between the number of hours spent on screen time and the number of days per week a child feels anxiety or depression? Is there a correlation between the number of hours spent on screen time and the number of times a child is in trouble in school? It is anticipated that a relationship will be found between the amount of screen time on a daily basis and the number of episodes of anxiety, misbehavior, amount of time spent on creative free play, and/or grades in school. It is anticipated that the discussion will include a correlation between screen time and episodes of depressive symptoms, a positive association between screen time and the severity of anxiety, hyperactivity, and inattention, a moderate association between screen time and self-esteem, and early autonomy of youth from parents, reducing parental influence on decision-making. It is also anticipated that the discussion will include specific types of technology that can increase hand-eye coordination, improve literacy skills, have the ability to teach collaboration, and increase creativity. Although it would take much more investigation to find a definitive answer, research seems to show that the type of technology used for screen time plays a significant role in whether technology is beneficial or harmful to the emotional and mental development of children and adolescents. 3 things I have learned from this class. First, research needs to be applicable. It needs to be relevant in the life of the researcher as well as the life of the intended audience. This makes the information that's gathered and the results much more meaningful. Second, qualitative research is much more interesting to me, but it's also more intensive and harder to evaluate. So while I really enjoy the research process and interviewing others and gathering that kind of information, analyzing and making that information useful is much more difficult. And third, I have forgotten a lot about statistics. My last statistics class was several years ago, and I didn't realize how much statistics was needed in the analysis process of research. So if I want to continue with research, I need a refresher course on statistics.